Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube. This is the good, the bad and the ugly astrology. It's your girl Honey, and today we're talking about having your Pluto in the second house. Now, this is a really interesting placement because a lot of people that I've done readings for this week have their Pluto in the second house and they're all Libra rising people. For my Scorpio Pluto generations, so Pluto in the second house. What is Pluto for those of us who don't know? Pluto is home to the 8th house on the natal chart. It's ruled over Scorpio, and the 8th house represents transformation, death, the rebirth, other people's resources, joint finances, sex, intimacy. It's a very interesting house. It's very deep, dark. Also, occultism, secrets. It's a very deep, dark place. The second house is home to Taurus. Taurus rules Venus, planet of finances, possessions, partners, romance, love. And the second house represents your self-worth, value, security, collections, possessions, earned finances. This is a very good house if you have a stellium in there. Okay, and a stellium means some shmoney. And stellium would always bring in some shmoney, or money will be very important to you. So what happens when you have Pluto in this house? I know a lot of men around me have Pluto in their second house. Why? Because I have Libra in my 5th house, house of pleasures. And Libra people tend to be quite good looking. So I'm attracted to those type of men. So that being said, Pluto in the second house, people, most of them in my generation would be Libra risings, okay? So what happens when Pluto falls into your second house, your house of value, assets, etc.? Pluto is a malefic. Whatever house it's in is going to bring some type of trauma, okay? Or some type of trauma that happened to you as a child that would have structured you into the adult that you are today. It's very interesting, actually. So this particular placement, what I found with a lot of people around me is these people are very conscious about their appearance. And the reason why I say that is because you've got Libra on the rising if you are Scorpio Pluto generation. You have Libra on the rising. Libra is all about beauty and looking good and smelling good, feeling good. And they attract a lot of people to them, especially if they've got Venus in their first house as well. So when you got Pluto in the second house, obviously with going to your rising, okay, you're attractive, you spend a lot of money on your appearance, you dress very well. The reason why they take care of their appearance is because they like to make sure that people recognize them for someone who is financially secure. Because a lot of financially secure people tend to look like they're financially secure, right? You know, they spend a lot of money on their clothing, they like luxury holidays. Who doesn't? But they like to present to the world, yes, I have the money to wear what I want to look good. And the reason why they do this is because in their childhood, there would have been some type of traumatic experience that would have led them to behave like this in reference, more so like growing up, their parents may have struggled. And it doesn't have to be the case in this day and age today, right? But growing up, they would have experienced their parents maybe, living from check to check, or not able to buy things. And the sad thing is, if Chiron comes into this house as well, the asteroid Chiron, there would be an issue with loss, bailiffs, owing your family, owing people money, and never quite being financially stable. And that can reflect onto you, especially if Chiron is in there. You will be someone who will spend recklessly and want to have all of these nice things, but you will lose them, okay? Now, when you've just got Pluto in here alone, no aspects, no conjunctions, just Pluto in the second house, you are going to seek value in your possessions and feel like the more things that you have, if you are someone who collects, the more things that you do have, the more likely, the more you feel like you belong in this world, or more self-worth. When you are a Scorpio second house person, you are going to be very secretive about your finances, especially if you have any aspects in your 8th house as well, all right? And the reason why I say this is because Scorpio is in the second house if you are part of that generation. Pluto being in there is going to amplify things, okay? So I've said this to people before. Their kind of method of shopping, right, or how they like to shop is, I'm going to show you guys that I have a nice lifestyle, but I won't show you too much. I'll buy a brand new car. I may tell people that I bought a new car, but I won't show people what car I'm driving. I won't show people my assets. You know, they are very possessive over their things, especially when they've spent a lot of money on it because they seek value in these things. And what it is, they have this fear of losing their of being poor or being someone who hasn't got anything. So they tend to collect or accumulate a lot of nice things in order to feel a sense of security, you know. And I've seen this with my own eyes with, you know, Pluto in the second house people, you know, and it can work the same way with people because the second house is home to Taurus, and even Taurus energy, especially if that person has Taurus aspects, Taurus placements, Sun in Taurus, Moon in Taurus, you know, anything got Venus in Taurus, Mars in Taurus. This person can definitely be someone who may look at humans as possessions as well. They're partners, you know. Oh my God, and it's crazy. Like, I attract a lot of men, right, that have this placement. And the ones that I've dated and gone out with, there's two that I've gone out with, right? And they both took me to the cinema and they paid for the tickets, which was nice of them, but neither of them got me any popcorn. And I thought, okay, that's a bit strange, no popcorn, okay. You know, it's a bit weird to me because usually when someone's taking you on a date, they tend to get the tickets and the popcorn, but I'm cool, I got my own popcorn. But there is an element of being stingy when it comes to this particular placement, okay? They don't like to spend their money recklessly on other people, but they will do it on themselves, especially if it is a brand new pair of Jordans, or if it's, you know, expensive clothing or perfumes, fragrances, anything to make them feel good, you know, they will spend it on themselves. Now let's talk about earned finances, people. These people tend to have very, very good jobs because a lot of the jobs that's in representation of Pluto or Scorpio is going to be jobs that require you to investigate. They're going to be very taboo type of jobs. These are the jobs that someone could easily work in or in a funeral home. Taboo jobs, things to do with sexuality, sex, death, investigating, even fraud, money, you know, working in health insurance, life insurance, that's to do with death, right? Also working in the sex industry. But because this is more so earned finances, it's not likely that this person would actually end up doing like sexual favors. It's more to do with managing the money, right? And it tends to be the nicer side to the dark side, okay? So we've got a dark side, right? But there's always got to be a nice side to the dark side. The light side is very good at managing things on the dark side. So these people can easily pimp, okay? These people can manage strippers. Someone who may have a grand shrine in water, and this is incorporated in that, could easily work in like sculpting. You know, water is very creative energy. But when you've got an aspect to Pluto in the second house, it would be sculpting of beautiful bodies, painting beautiful bodies, something to do with the body and something very sexual. I've also found with this placement, these people, depending if you have Cancer energy, Virgo energy, maybe even a sixth house stellium, but what I found with this placement alone is these people are not the best at being of service to others. It tends to be more telling others what to do or how to accumulate the money. And they are very, very good at manipulating people to get their money to come in. Because Scorpio is very secret energy. Scorpio energy is very, very good at manipulating. And second house represents your finances, earned finances. So these people could easily manipulate, which is why they always say when it comes to jobs, they could easily work in like a pawn shop, because you go in there, you've got an expensive diamond, you know, or a really expensive ring that you don't wear anymore. You got it from an ex. and you go in there and you're expecting to get like, you know, 5 grand for it, and the guy says to you, nah, it's worth £50, mate, take it or leave it. And they're obviously lying, you know, but they got to get their money, because it's about collecting possessions and having the best of the best, you know, having quality. And they will have quality and quantity, because there is an element of greed as well. Now, the good thing is about having Pluto in the second house is this, right? Because these people have experienced financial loss and possibly financial gain, they have that drive in them, depending on the Mars. They have that drive to always accumulate more, because they know what it's like to be poor. And what it leads to is these people tend to plan ahead with money. So when they meet someone who is very driven, goal orientated, someone who is, you know, planning over the next 5 years of their financial life, that person is very attractive to them, because they are about accumulating nice things, finances, and they would never get with someone, you know, who's just someone who, oh, let me just, you know, paint all day, let me just be an actor, or I want to be a rapper. No, not unless you've got the money up here ready, you know, you're making money. They're not interested in you. And it doesn't mean that they are gold diggers, but they definitely have the element of gold digging, especially if you've got Lilith in Taurus, Lilith in the second house. There's going to be element of that in you, because you are attracted to financial gain, and you don't ever want to feel poor. But realistically, who wants to feel poor? Who wants to struggle? No one wants to struggle. But you guys are very materialistic. Well, there's an element of materialism that you have, and you like to collect things and accumulate things, because it gives you wealth and value. Okay, so that's my video on Pluto, second house. I will see you on the next one, people. Take care.